Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So, Tyson Fury is about to win and win big. I mean, you know, it's so crazy because if this goes forward, right, as of right now, he's retired, but it looks like he's trying to come out of it. We know he can't fight in the States. He has assets seized in the States. But Tyson Fury can still, if he wants, what it sounds like right now is to continue his career, but not stateside. Everything he does has to be overseas. Now, Deontay Wilder came out and said Tyson Fury is forced to retire. We still have to wait to see how this plays out. But at least he and his team and his promoter are talking right now like Tyson Fury is going to go ahead and fight Usyk. And I think this is interesting because obviously there's something going on with Tyson Fury, the whole legal issue with Hearn. Obviously Deontay Wilder heard something. Obviously Tyson Fury has his perspective and he feels like it's full steam ahead for this undisputed distinction. First time in the four-belt era, they'll be crowning a undisputed heavyweight champion. And the uniqueness of Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk both being undefeated, being in their 30s, and not up-and-coming boxers, but guys who paid their dues. When you just think about that, right? You can justify why these guys would get about 500 million pounds to be divided up across the two of them. Well, I think we'd have problems. Well, we shouldn't, but it could be the split of that money, okay? Does Tyson Fury deserve more money than Usyk? Usyk has more belts, right? He does. He came out here, was the undisputed guy. You're in a similar situation to Spence Crawford, except it's kind of, they both share common talking points. So Spence and Crawford, Spence has all the belts. He has 3 of the belts. Crawford has 1. In this situation, Usyk has 3 of the belts. Tyson Fury has 1. But this is where I said Usyk shares some of those common talking points of Spence and Crawford. Fury shares some similar talking points to Spence and Crawford. It's not just Fury's just like Spence in this, Usyk's just like Crawford in this. So Fury has 1 belt, Spence has 1 belt. Usyk has 3, Crawford has 3. Usyk was he was undisputed already at a weight below heavyweight. Crawford was undisputed as a weight below welterweight. Tyson Fury is holding 1 belt, and he wants to become undisputed. But you see, Earl Spence has 3, but he wants to be undisputed. You know, it's so funny to see that a lot of the issues and a lot of those things going on between Spence and Crawford, you're finding it in Fury and Usyk. However, both of them have similar talking points to each fighter. It's crazy the uniqueness of what's going on. So how do you decide? Because to me, I said the guy with all the belts, those are like certifications. If we're both going in for a job, yeah, you got the experience and all that, we get it. But I got all the certs. At the end of the day, I should get paid a little bit more. But when you look at what's going on here, Tyson Fury is the bigger name. Tyson Fury has a lot more experience. Tyson Fury probably brings more money to the table. But Usyk has all the certifications. So should Usyk get a 60-40 split? This may be the first time where we really see a guy who's coming in with all that hardware, like Usyk, but doesn't get a 50-50 split, and he doesn't get the lion's share. You may see Tyson Fury gets the lion's share because, for the most part, Tyson Fury's been carrying the heavyweight division for a while. And so has AJ, but Tyson Fury is the one who's still standing, had the super hard fights with Wilder, no matter what we think about it. And at the end of the day, he's kind of the money machine. So I'm not sure how they're going to split it up. But this is the thing, right? Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury's promoter, Frank Warren, he is at work. So it leads me to believe that Tyson Fury can fight stateside and maybe was forced into retirement as far as fighting in the States, but not forced into retirement from fighting, in other countries. But Frank Warren's already, hitting the Saudis up and saying, hey, you got to show us the money. If you want to have this undisputed clash between Fury and Usyk, then you're going to have to pay and pay big. Right now, they've already penciled in the date. It's 17 December in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Right? That's not a rumor. All right? That's already pinned in. Now they're trying to go from there. Okay, we got the location. We got the venue. Now let's sort out everything else. But the uniqueness of all of this is that the Saudi Sports Ministry, they paid Usyk 66 million pounds for his rematch against Anthony Joshua in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Anthony Joshua made over 100 million pounds for that fight. That's crazy. And with Tyson Fury and Usyk, the fight's much bigger. It's much bigger. Okay? And just imagine if it was Tyson Fury versus AJ. But it isn't that. But this fight that they're trying to plan between Fury and Usyk is much, much bigger. There have been preliminary discussions that have taken place a while ago, and just trying to meet the financial expectations of both guys. And both of them want a lot of money. And both of them are going to be very vocal about the purse split. Because they want it to be worthwhile. And they also understand, going into this fight, that this fight is historical. But when you look at like money that the Saudis are offering, like golfers, and other athletes, when they bring them to their country, man, those guys get paid a lot of money. So if they're going to pay them that kind of money, then when it comes to boxers, they should get paid even more money, because boxing is an extremely dangerous sport. And when you look at what's going on between what's going to happen between these two, it's historical. And just for them to get the fight done, is just going to be the ultimate prize in boxing, as like I said before, is that undisputed heavyweight championship that they're fighting for. Warren's trying to put a spin on it, which is true, but he's a salesman, but it's true. As a promoter, he has to kind of, say things in a way that maybe you and I wouldn't, but he's not lying. But it's true when he says that the Saudis would be buying history. They really are. Because like I said, the 4 major heavyweight belts will be contested by 2 undefeated world champions for the first time. That's never been done. And especially in the 4-belt era. It is crazy. So when you think about that, 2 guys, both champions, both undefeated, both in their prime, and fighting for 4 belts. First time for 4 belts. There's a whole lot of history there. And that's worth paying top dollar to see, and that's worth the Saudis paying top dollar to host that event in their country. It's going to attract a lot of business, a lot of people with different interests, with their own agendas. It's going to gain a lot of attention, a lot of momentum, and could help to remove that black cloud that hovers over the Saudis. We know the guy who's over their sports, they're all about doing whatever it takes to make Saudi, to make people see Saudi more tourist friendly and somewhere where they can come with their family. They're looking to find ways to help boost the economy and make it. They're not trying to westernize the entire country, but they're definitely trying to make some changes, because the young people have the power over there, and the young people are speaking, and their voices being heard. But they know sports brings a lot of people together from all different walks of life. So that's something that the guy who's over, I think it was sports ministry affairs, sports affairs or whatever, the sports affair rep, he's all about that. So again, we'll see what's going to happen, but the word is Tyson Fury, you know, he's always posting videos, but Tyson Fury has been consistently training and could be ready in 10 weeks to fight for this undisputed distinction. Now, it's not going to happen that fast because we know Usyk. Let me tell you something. Usyk took some damage in that fight. That man was praying in the corner. And, you know, those spirits heard him, and they came into that ring, and they gave him the strength he needed to throw a lot of punches, rounds 10, 11, and 12. And I personally think Anthony Joshua was hypnotized by that little pigtail on. Oh, that's just crazy. That little pigtail on the top of Usyk's head. That's what caused AJ to use the fight, because that little pigtail was dancing around top of his head. But anyway, man, we know Usyk is going to need a break. He took some damage, man. I don't care what you say. Those body shots. If Joshua would have just stuck with the body, but I ain't here to get into that. But Usyk did not like those body shots. And Joshua's a big, strong boy. He was hitting them with some shots, man. But once Usyk recovers, Frank Warren and those guys, they said they know for a fact he can meet the December 17th date. He wants that date. But what they want to do is pin in a 2-fight deal. So whoever wins, of course, there'd be the rematch. So if Fury wins or Usyk wins, the rematch would be in the UK around April, May next year. The reason they don't want to do the fight in the UK this year is because December time frame, the weather just isn't right. And it'll just be hard for those guys to get the training, and it's just problematic to put some on in the UK in the wintertime. So more around spring, transitioning into summer, weather's a lot better. It's just a lot easier. But right now, the Saudis have a lot of interest in making that fight. The Saudis have put their marker in the sand, and they're all in big time when it comes to boxing. And there's nothing bigger than the Tyson Fury Usyk fight in boxing. Right now, there's nothing bigger. I don't care. Pacquiao came back. They have Mayweather and Pacquiao too. There's no fight that can be made. Even Spence and Crawford, man, that's a huge fight, but nothing is bigger than these heavyweights, man. And this is going to be amazing, man. But Frank Warren is also trying to capitalize on what happened this past weekend with Anthony Joshua losing by saying Anthony Joshua should fight Daniel Dubois or he should fight Joe Joyce. Now, there have been rumors that in the past, during sparring between AJ and Dubois, AJ and Joyce, that Anthony Joshua has gone down, has been hurt, has been KO'd. So Frank Warren he's right saying that it's a huge fight for AJ to fight in the UK against the Dubois or Joyce. But at the same time, I think he sees that this is an opportunity for his guys to get a huge win against a huge name, and for them to kind of step into that light to where AJ is and could possibly have one foot out of it, which is what he's supposed to do as a promoter. To me, I think that's a little bit foul, but he got to do what he has to do. But we know AJ's going to look for the biggest fight. Right now, AJ is supposed to be returning in November, December. He wants November. Hearn wants December. And the name that's being thrown out there is Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte. That's the name that's being thrown out there. You know, and if Hearn throws it out there, that means that's what he's going to go for. And with Dillian Whyte, shouldn't be an issue with the fight purse. Shouldn't be an issue with making the fight. They will sell out the arena. These guys have promised to get back in the ring and have a trilogy after the fight where AJ knocked him out. And this is the opportunity for Eddie Hearn to knock another event out the park. Because pay attention, I've been saying this, Eddie Hearn is all about wins now. He's not looking to take out his checkbook for a fighter to roll a dice on a fighter. He's looking for all wins. He's not looking for any more, well, we'll see how this develops. We'll invest today and hope to get a return later. No, he wants immediate returns now. And that's the space he's in. So with him and AJ is still a cash cow. And there's still big fights for AJ. But he wants AJ to be more active. So maybe 3 fights a year. Because you got to look at the last couple of years. AJ has fought like once a year. Taking a year off, 10 months off. You know, that's not good. He has to be fighting like 3 times a year. That being said, if AJ is fighting 3 times a year, he's not fighting no damn Tyson Furies, no Deontay Wilders. I don't know who else out there would give him a tough time. Maybe even like a Zhang or somebody. They're not gonna put him in there with somebody like that. I don't care what anyone says. I like Zhang, but that big, Chinaman. Hopefully I don't offend anybody when I say that, right? But that big Chinaman, he is no joke. You can't put Anthony Joshua in there playing around with that guy, especially those first 6 rounds. So I think they're going to put him in some must-win fights. We may finally see AJ fight Luis Ortiz if Luis Ortiz clips, what's his name, Andy Ruiz. I think Luis Ortiz is gonna beat Andy Ruiz. I honestly do. This Andy Ruiz isn't Andy Ruiz, man. Not the fat guy. This isn't him. That guy will beat. To me, he beat everybody. That guy was a problem. But I don't know what the hell's going on with Andy Ruiz, man. The man got money, and that's what happens. AJ's got dough. Waters got dough. Fury seems to still be plodding along. He's got dough, but those 3, they got real money, man. AJ, Ruiz, and Wilder, that money's affecting those guys. I don't care. I think it's affecting them. But we're going to see in Ruiz's second performance, see how he looks against Ortiz. Ortiz is still hungry. We're going to see how Wilder looks against Helenius, because he keeps talking about how he's making so much money outside of boxing. So we're going to see. But I think AJ was affected by the money. But now, I think AJ now is like, all right, enough is enough. But when he comes back, AJ going to come back with a vengeance. I really think he is. But Hearn's not going to allow AJ to come and take another defeat. So throw him in there with Dillian White. Let him knock Dillian White out within 1 or 2 rounds. Then throw him in there with he won't fight Chisora because they're friends. Throw him in there with Hrgovic. Let him knock Hrgovic out. You know, let him get some of those wins. You know, let him clip those guys. I don't know about a Joe Joyce. Look like, you know, Joe Joyce is a problem. But put him in there with a Joe Joyce. But but don't throw him in there with killers. And after you build his profile back up, hell, I don't even think AJ cares about the belts no more, because he paid so much money to those sanctioning fees from the organizations that he's just disgusted with belts now. There's millions and millions of dollars he paid, and they're all gone. But it is what it is. But at some point, maybe AJ gets back in the mix and gets another opportunity at the undisputed distinction. Why wouldn't, if Tyson Fury won and decided to continue fighting, why wouldn't he fight AJ in the UK for an undisputed distinction? Why not? He may walk away from the sport, but if he comes in there and easily handles Usyk, why wouldn't he fight AJ? You know, so we'll see how it all plays out. But what I'm telling you right now, we'll see how the purse split and everything goes. We'll see if the Saudis sign off on that 500 million pounds. But we do know that 17 December in Riyadh, that's the official date. It may move forward, may move back, but right now that's the date they're shooting for. And we'll see how it plays out. I am looking forward to this fight taking place. Looking forward to the build-up. But Usyk definitely has the heel up because he took some shots, man. And Tyson Fury, we'll see. I'm still like, it's all up in the air, but they're full steam ahead, man. They're trying to make the fight, trying to get the fight firmed up. We'll see if it happens. But Eddie Hearn is not involved as Frank Warren. And I'll tell you what, Frank Warren's been doing this for a long time. So he's not as vocal as Eddie Hearn, but Frank Warren has his stuff together. And he hit on some stuff that I thought was just spot on. Talking about both of them being undefeated, both of them being in their prime. They paid their dues. Both of them are champions, you know. And this is the first time to have an undisputed championship in 19 years, and this is the 4-belt era. I mean, he really is correct when he says that anyone who chooses to put this fight on in the country, they're buying history. And that's a very clever way to put it. Don't be surprised if those Saudis come up with that money, man. They may come up with more, who knows. But that being said, man, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to the veterans. I appreciate everyone's support, no matter where you are in the world. It means a lot to me. I genuinely mean that from my heart, man. Y'all keep cool, and as always, I'm in the breeze.